That's your presentation. That's it. Okay, well, as you're aware, when the committee heard about this BCG audit, and to what extent the department did not consider federal authority or the ability to allow payment for these contractors or vendors, that expressed a concern in terms of the committee. However, recognizing that the Attorney General, the State Auditor has subpoena power, as well as the Legislative Finance Committee, we felt that we did not want to intervene or jeopardize the investigation that was being done by the Attorney General, nor the authority for the State Auditor to subpoena the record. And we felt that it was sufficient for the State Auditor to subpoena the record to be able to validate the audit that was done by BCG. Now, also, I guess the department did not, well, for instance, 14 of the 50 providers for behavioral health reimbursement were turned down by HSD and chose not to exercise authority in federal statutes to allow payments to be reinstated. That was part of the HSD action that they took. And then, as part of the State Auditor's concerns, the question raised by the State Auditor was the verification process used by HSD to determine credible allegations of fraud. And that was when it would refer to the Attorney General. Now, the report that the Attorney General recently released, I think was sufficient for us to review where you were in terms of the investigation, and also to assure that the State Auditor's Office, when they do the agency audit, that all of these issues that have been raised would be addressed within that particular audit. So we're looking at what perhaps, Mr. Attorney General, how long would we you estimate we'll need to wait for you to be able to release your information on the allocation of the 50 providers?
Mr. Chairman, I certainly hope that on some of the providers that we'll be able to issue a report before the end of the year. I can't guarantee that we can do that before the end of the year. My best estimate is that that will not be true for all 15. You know, I think that because of the volume of documents that there are and the resources that we have available, and like I said, we're using resources that are not paid for by Medicaid necessarily. We're moving some of our other investigators that are basically on general fund to work on this. We actually have other agencies, including federal agencies, that are working with us to do this. And so I don't know, that we could go a lot faster, for instance. I'm not here to say that we need specifically more funding for this, although as we get to the legislative session next year, we might know more about what would be helpful there. No, I think that everybody is moving forward. I actually think that we had hoped to have a little bit more to report to you today, but like a lot of projects that we've worked on in our life, we think it's about 90% done, and when we get to that last 10%, there are things that pop up that need to be addressed or dealt with. And so in this case, we have some cases where we've made significant progress, but we're not ready to report on the outcome of it.
And you're aware of the Attorney General and State Auditor that the LSD attempted to work with human services. Up front, they requested like $18 million of budget adjustment authority to be able to pay these outside contractors. We felt at the time we did not have sufficient information to be able to authorize the entire $18 million. So we authorized $7 million, David, with the understanding that if they needed to the additional dollar transfer, that it would bring a justification for that. They never did to us. This committee did not approve that transfer, but we don't have the authority to stop it, as you're aware, Mr. Attorney General. So they went ahead and implemented that transfer for the additional dollars. So that raised some concerns also in terms of what the executive can do, that we as a committee with subpoena powers cannot take action to stop that kind of a process. So I'm hopeful that we can get as much of this addressed as soon as possible, and that the process continues forward so that we can have a clearing of this particular service so that we can continue to provide the services for the people in the state of Mexico. I have Senator Padilla next.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Attorney General and Mr. State Auditor, for bringing these good summaries here. I just had a few questions on some of the timeline of how the procurement went when there was discussion or a feeling or a belief, I guess, that there was something going wrong here. Can you tell me, or I'm not sure who would address this, but the Human Services Department, what is their relationship with this PCG Consulting Group? Are they a New Mexico company? Are they, was there an RFP that went out to identify and select this company? Can you shed any light on that piece? Because I think that's really where this emergency arose from.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Padilla, I can address a couple of parts of your question there, and it's possible that Mr. Attorney can address a little bit more. My understanding is that Secretary Squire, partly in that meeting on July 3rd, and then I sat next to her at another meeting that wasn't done at the LFC, the one at the university, has said that they did not do this procurement through an RFP, that they did it as an emergency procurement, that they did it based on some discussion or information they got from Optum, information that they got from Optum, that the Secretary said that they determined that it was of such urgency that they get somebody that they hired this firm PCG. It is my understanding that PCG does not otherwise have a business presence in New Mexico, that I think that they're out of Massachusetts. And so I don't recall the Secretary explaining why it was that they chose this particular audit firm, but I know that she said they did it on an emergency program.
So, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Attorney General, so the procurement code in New Mexico, as I understand it, for this type of service is $50,000 before an RFP is required to do something like this. So we're talking $50,000 versus $3 million, and a cabinet secretary has the ability to simply award a contract for $3 million. Is that essentially what happened here?
Mr. Chairman, Senator Padilla, yes, I believe that is what happened here. I think there's probably two different sections of the procurement code that you're talking about. The $50,000 procurement, you can do a sole source procurement. Various agencies can, I think we have that authority. I still think you have to do some analysis as to why you're doing a sole source, and you have to get some approval from the FAA. This procurement was done under a different section that allows for emergency procurement, and I don't know, you all have experts that know whether there's any dollar amount, cap on that, or whether there should be. It might be something useful for the legislature to discuss. But in this case, I think, as I recall, this was the contract was for a fixed amount, and it's something under $3 million. What I don't remember is if it was for a different fixed amount, and then they did modifications that brought it up to like 2.7. So I might have been a fixed amount from the beginning, unfortunately, I don't know more than that, but I think there are two different sections of the procurement code.